Hey, welcome back to Cooking and Creating with Auntie M. Today we are going to be making masks, face masks, and this is a real easy process. So you're going to start with a piece of paper, which is 8.5 by 11. So what you're going to measure out is 10 inches across and 5 inches down. So that's going to be 10 by 5. So once you get that, you're going to cut it out and you're going to have a piece of paper that looks like this. So you're going to take your piece of paper and you're going to fold it in half. You folded it in half and we're going to turn it this way where the folds are. I mean the not fold, I'm sorry. So then we're going to measure 2.5 inches down. So that would be the half point of this size right here. So you mark it 2.5 inches down, and then from the 2.5 you're going to mark it 1.25 inches, 1 1/4 inch, and then on the other side you'll mark it 1 1/4 inch. So that's 2.5, 1 1/4, 1 1/4. So then you're going to mark from the end of the paper to 4 inches. So that's 4 inches. So you'll mark 4 inches and you'll draw the line all the way across. Now once you have your 4-inch mark, you're going to connect from the 4-inch to where your 1 1/4 is. Draw a line, and then do the other side, draw a line, and then you'll have this line, you'll connect it. So you'll see it looks like a triangle. So then from the 4-inch mark, you're going to mark 1/2 inch up. So that's 1/2 inch. And what I did to make it a little bit easier is I did 1/2 inch and I drew all the way across my ruler. Because once you do that, then you're going to freehand curve it. And I'm not really good at the freehand, so I needed all the help I could get. So once I got my line, I just kind of curved it that way. And then I came over here and curved it that way. And you can pretty much eyeball it just to make sure that it looks like an oval. So once you do that, you have made your pattern piece, and you cut this out, you'll have 2 pattern pieces. So your pattern piece will look like this. It'll be the 1/4 mark, the 2.5 and the 1/4 mark. You did the 4-inch mark from the bottom, and then you did 1/2 inch up, and then you curved it. So that will be basically your pattern piece. Now, once you have your pattern piece, you can use this one and go ahead and cut out your mask, but you'll have to remember you'll need to add 1/4 inch on each side of the mask. So what I did was took this piece, put it on a piece of paper, and added all that I needed on. So then this is my final mask, so I don't have to remember to add the 1/4 inch on each side. So here's my template for my mask. So I've already cut out my one piece. So I'm getting ready to cut out my other piece. And what I do is just take my piece that I've already made, I lay it on the fabric like this. Make sure everything's smoothed out, and if you have too many wrinkles, iron your material first. So then I just usually take a pen. You can use your chalk marker if you have one, but I just take a pen because what I'm going to do is once I trace it out, I'm just going to cut off. So again, I just use my pen and I'm tracing out the pattern piece that I've already cut out. So you'll need actually 4 pieces to make your mask, your front side and your back side, or in our case we make them reversible. So now I'm just going to cut on that line that I just traced out. And I actually do have this on my cutting board, so if you have a cutting mat, you could just use your rotary cutter and cut it out. I just feel better cutting it out with scissors. So there's our 4 pieces. We have 2 of this one, 2 of that one, and now we're going to get ready to sew it together. Let me get to the machine and we'll be back. Okay, so now we're going to sew these together, and if you're new to this, I would pin it together. But I usually just pin the first part and then I place my machine right on the edge, because if I sew at the edge, that will give me my 1/4 inch seam. So then you're going to start your stitch, stop it, go back so that gives it kind of like a locking stitch. And then you're gonna go forward. Okay, now D, let it run a few stitches, and then you just go ahead and put your other piece in. So instead of stopping, cutting, and all of that, you're gonna continue. So you put it right at the edge, you start it, stop it, go back, finish your stay stitch, and then start again. Just keep it close to the edge. You're gonna stop, go back. So that keeps the stitch locked together, and then when you finish, so I'm gonna pull my thread, cut as close as I can to the edge, and then cut my thing in the middle, and then I'm gonna cut off this long train. And if you could see, you'll see the start stop stitch. So that keeps it from unraveling when you open it up. Now I'm getting ready to go to the iron and press these seams open. I'll be right back. Okay, so I'm at my little pressing station. I do have an iron cover on. I just cover it up. So what you do first is open up the seams and kind of just push it with your thumb flat. This helps to make your mask more streamlined. So then I take my iron and I press the seam open. What I do is do one side, press it open, and then I turn it around and press the other side. Once you put it down with your fingers, it's kind of easy just to flatten it out with the iron. We'll do our other one. Again, see, I've already flattened it with my thumb. So then we just want to press it to make sure it stays. And then just press it. That down, turn it around, and press that down. So now that we have these pressed down, we're going to, this is one side, this is our other side. We're going to face the two right sides together, go back to our machine, and put it together. My two seams together on both sides. I pinned it at the top here, so then we're going to go to the bottom, and we're going to match up our seams like that. Make sure both seams are flat on each side because you want to pin it flat because you don't want to have any bulkiness in here. So open up the seams and then pin it together. Now, once we pin it together, we have to pin this on this side. I pin it on both sides to keep the flaps down so when I sew it, they'll be together. So then I usually lay my mask down and kind of smooth it out, make sure everything is together. Now I fold up a 1/2 inch, and I eyeball it because I've been doing it so long. Actually, let me show you this. This is real life. Okay, so this side, one side is longer than the other. So what I'm going to do is to cut it off and make everything even. So I'm going to take my scissors and cut this according to the top layer. And this part, I'm going to cut off. You see that overflowing? Just a little bit. Sometimes it happens. And then I'm going to cut this right here. So when I sew it together, there won't be anything hanging out or hanging over. So now we're going to take it, fold it our 1/2 inch, just iron it with your finger, fold the other side over, and you make it even to that side. Iron it with your finger, and then pin it. So you have 1/2 inch on this side, 1/2 inch on that side. And this actually makes it easier for when you turn it inside out, you are all set. You'll have a finished seam. You're going to stick your elastic in there and then sew it down, and you're done. So fold it on this side and then do the other side. Once I have everything in place, I'm going to come back and sew it. Okay, so I have it all pinned up, and I'm going to start at the very corner. Now putting my material along the side of my pressing foot of my machine makes me get that 1/4 inch seam. So I take out my pin, and again we're going to do a stay stitch. So we're going to go forward, we'll stop and go backwards to stay stitch that, and then we're going to hit it again and come back. So all along the edge here. I don't even cut the thread, I just twirl it around and keep on going. I line it up properly, then I take my pin out, and then I do my stay stitch. Come back and continue sewing. Stay stitching so that when you turn your mask inside out, your stitches don't start coming out. So we cut off our excess, and now we can turn it inside out. And this is easy to turn with your fingers. We're going to turn it inside out. And here we have our almost finished face mask. And so what I do is turn it out, and then I go back to the iron and I press it so everything is nice and flat, and then we'll put the elastic in and we're done. Okay, so our mask is ironed. So now what we're going to do is get our elastic. Now this is a 6-inch elastic, and one of the things I do with my elastic is just take a lighter and quickly pass it through the lighter. Not a long time, and that just melts it down a little bit on the edges, so that way, you know, with you tugging on the mask and everything, the elastic doesn't start unraveling. So you just basically run it through, and once you do it, you could feel it that it makes a little like plastic edge to it. So that's our 6-inch elastic. So then we're going to take it, we're going to put it in the sides, and we'll put it, you could kind of just eyeball it, put it in 1/2 inch down, and I take a pin, hold it in place, take the other side 1/2 inch down, hold it in place, and then do the other side. Okay, so we have our elastic in, and you'll see we got this side in, this side in. Now we're just gonna sew down this seam. Now what I do is, because my machine doesn't always like to go over this big hump, so what I do is I start past that so that I can have a smooth stitch. So I go in, stop, go back a stitch, and then I pull out this pin, but as you see, I'm holding it with my finger, and go down. Now again, we're gonna have to do a stay stitch at the bottom, go down, stop, come back up, and then I just go back out again. So that's like 3 times at the elastic. So then I pull it out, cut it, and then I turn it over. I gather these extra strings, I cut it off, and I try to get as close as I possibly can on this side. So I line it up, so I'm going right in the same stitch. I still do my stay stitch, go back, and then I pull out my needle and I go down. And sometimes your material is so thick it's hard to do this, but it's good if you can do the stay stitch at the bottom to keep your elastic in. Now we just do the other side and we're complete. We are our complete mask. Both sides, we could wear it on this side, we can wear it on that side, but I would wash it in between. Don't just keep wearing it. So I'm gonna fold it out, take off my glasses here, and this is what our mask looks like. Isn't that very easy? So thank you for joining and tuning in. If you want more information on the mask, just leave me a comment. I also make folding masks, so if you want a tutorial on that, we can do that for you. Thank you for watching, and please like, subscribe, and share. Tell your friends, watch this video. Bye-bye.